Welcome back to Textiles and Treasures. Since I've started to be on the lookout for vintage glassware and classic board games, one of the best places to find exactly what I'm looking for has been the local swap shed. At my local recycling center, there's an awesome swap shed where you can find all kinds of items that people don't want to end up in the landfill. Since I started going earlier this year, I have been consistently surprised with the quality of the items that I found, and it never fails that I find something that I've been on the lookout for. Today I'm going to share what I found at the swap shed over a few visits over the course of about 6 weeks. I was really surprised to pick up some of these items and of course super excited. Let's get started. When I walked into the swap shed and found this item on a bottom shelf, I was completely shocked. Imagine my surprise when I found a black snowflake Pyrex divided dish with the lid. Although the lid has a tiny chip in it here on this corner, the piece is in excellent condition, and I was so surprised that somebody just put this in the swap shed and then it was just resting there waiting for me on the bottom shelf. I can't wait to use this divided dish around the holidays, and it was so exciting to find this for free. There are always a ton of board games in the swap shed. I'm not sure if people are just downsizing, they realize they don't play them, or what the deal is. I was super excited to find this vintage version of Stratego. This is the version of Stratego that I grew up playing with my family, and it is very prized in our household. I picked up the same version earlier this year, but there was a little water damage, and this one is in even better condition. Totally worth the price of free. This is what the pieces look like in this vintage version of Stratego. Another game that I was super excited to come across is Match 4. This game is also called Score 4 when it's made by other makers. The reason I was so excited to come across Match 4 is that I had seen a version that was missing a ton of pieces at an estate sale and I really wanted to play it. You can think of this game as a three-dimensional version of tic-tac-toe, and even though it's simple, it does take some strategy, so it's really fun to play. Once again, I was super excited to find this. What an awesome visit. You may have realized by now that I love Yahtzee, so when I found Challenge Yahtzee at the swap shed, I had to pick it up. This game is interesting because all of the players play from the same roll, and there's some strategy involved with which ones you are going to re-roll and how you're going to continue to play the game. While classic Yahtzee is absolutely a good game, this one is pretty fun too, and it was definitely worth picking up. I also found this simple wooden bunny at the swap shed. This will be perfect when Easter rolls around again. I'm not sure if I'm going to paint it or what I'll do with it, but I couldn't resist picking it up. On my next visit to the swap shed, I continued to find more treasures. The first thing I found was this iron and glass basket that you can see in my video on my fall decor. I have it sitting out on my bench and I keep switching out the items to decorate for the different seasons. The next thing I picked up at the swap shed was this vintage Delft planter. I don't know much about this style, but I do know that this was very well used by its previous owner. It was definitely used as a planter and it has seen better days. But it's perfect for what I use it for, which is to store some of the items I use with my succulents. This thing definitely deserved to be saved and it didn't need to end up in the landfill. I can still use it even though it's imperfect. I also found this interesting black and wood grain style tray. This looked to me to be a little bit mid-century. I don't really know that much about the style of trays, but it was in perfectly fine condition and it's great for storing different items, maybe creating a little display, and it's just a little different than some of the other trays I have. Who can resist for the price of free? I also decided to pick up this tiny little teapot with some bears on it. This probably belonged to a child's tea set and it doesn't have its lid, but who cares? It's really cute and it fits well in a little display. I'll have this out again around the spring. There are a ton of frames and some framed art at the swap shed. I don't usually have the patience to look through it because it looks to be mostly frames. However, I did look through it this day and I found something really cool. I found this reverse painted framed piece. As you can see, there is a beautiful blue bouquet hanging out inside of a vase, and this is done in the reverse painting style. It is signed on the bottom by the artist, and you can actually see her name and address here at the bottom. I did find a few other pieces by her when I looked her up on Google, and I think this is a really awesome find because it was completely free. These are definitely my colors, and it's neat to have a piece in this style as opposed to the needlework I usually pick up. Of course, I decided to check out the games. There's always cool games to to see there. I decided to get this Mexican train game. This is a dominoes game that is really cool because you play with these little trains, and this actually plays sound, and it's really actually fun. Like I always say, simple games are sometimes the best ones, and this was worth getting because it was completely free, and I've seen it at thrift stores for about $5, and it retailed for a lot more. I also found this vintage wooden cribbage board. Fun fact, I think I saw this at a yard sale and didn't get it because it's missing the pieces, but when it ended up at the swap shed, I decided to get it because I have other pieces I can use. I have a bit of a collection of cribbage boards. Maybe I'll host a tournament at some point. Who can resist Christmas mugs? There's always a steady supply of Christmas mugs at the swap shed year-round. I love penguins, and I could not resist picking this one up. They are just so adorable and absolutely perfect for the season. I like this mug because it's a little bit taller, it holds a little bit more than a basic mug, and it was free, so who could resist taking it home? The next week, I headed over to the glassware in the swap shed, and I found another piece of Pyrex. As you can see here, this is a little bit dishwasher damaged. It has seen better days, but it is one of the much older versions of Pyrex, the ones that don't have the number on them. Even though this bowl is a little bit dishwasher damaged, I was happy to pick it up. It's so fun to find Pyrex for free at the swap shed. I also found this small pint ball jar with the glass lid, one of these older ones, and you can tell that this one is older because it doesn't have the underline on it. So this is a really old ball jar, and I was happy to get this as well. Continuing the trend of finding awesome games at the swap shed, I found Sharpshooters. This is a really awesome dice game. You may recall that I absolutely love dice games. I'm always on the lookout for them, and this is one I had not played before. I think the reason I like dice games so much is that there's a lot that's up to chance, so it's really unexpected whether or not you're going to win. This game is really cool because everyone who plays is trying to fill up this card, but you only earn points if you're the one who completes the particular sequence. You can also lose points if you get the sequence that gives you negative points. It is really fun and engaging for a group of people, and I was happy to get this one for free as well. On my next visit to the swap shed, I picked up a couple more games. That's right. One of the games I got is Mastermind, and I do have quite a few versions of this game, but I decided to get it because it had the instructions. I also decided to get this Giotto word game because it's made by the makers of Scrabble. You come up with secret words and then people try to guess it. I guess it's kind of like Mastermind, just with words. And this has seen very little use. Almost all of the papers are still there. It has the pencils and it's in great condition. On my next visit to the swap shed, I found more random items. One of the things I picked up is this 1964-1965 New York World's Fair glass. My parents often talk to me about a World's Fair that they took me to when I was just a baby, but the reason I liked this is that I used to live in New York, and this just seems pretty cool. It's very clearly vintage. It's very clearly from the 60s. There's no risk in picking up glassware if it's free. I also found this very cute bulldog. This is an interesting wood bulldog. As you can see, it's made with several pieces of wood, and it is hand painted. On the bottom, you can see that it is signed by the artist, and it says New Hampshire made. I could not leave this adorable little guy behind. He is so cute, and it was definitely worth taking home with me. Fun fact is that I saw a hippo in this same exact style made by the same person at Goodwill a week or so later, but I already had my bulldog, and I was happy with that. I also found this stainless steel mini teapot. This looks like one of those teapots that you would see at a diner, and that's definitely what drew me to it. On the bottom, it is marked Gemco, and it is stainless steel made in Japan. I definitely pick up quite a few Gemco items, and I was happy to get this as well. So cute. When I'm at the swap shed, I have to remember to look through the plates because there are some good items in there. One of them that I found was this cobalt blue plate with this kind of tiered design along the edges. This plate may be Hazel Atlas modern tone. It sort of has that feel, but it could also be something that's a little more modern, made in the same style. It's just a single plate, and I haven't found any others like it, but I love cobalt blue, and I'm happy to add it to my collection. I also found these two green plates. When I first saw them, I thought they might be depression glass. They kind of have that color, although you can't be sure unless you're looking under a black light. However, when I looked more closely when I got home, I saw that these are actually made by Pyrex. This pattern is called Fiesta, and these were a type of dinner plates that Pyrex made, I think in the 80s. Now I have 2 of them and I'll be on the lookout for others. Speaking of Pyrex, I was pretty excited to find these Corning pieces. I found this little handle that had a note on it. As you can see, the person who dropped it off at the swap shed made sure that you would know what it is. And when I saw that, I knew I had to take them home. Although the person wrote that this is for Corning, it's actually made by Anchor Hawking. You would use this handle to clip on to some of those casseroles that you would use in the oven. That way you don't burn your hand. I'm still a little nervous about using this because it seems less secure than just picking it out with oven mitts, but hey, it was worth picking up because it was free. I also got these Corning cradles. This one is a smaller one that I can use with an oval casserole dish, and I also got 2 of the larger ones that I can use with the larger oval dishes. I have a Pyrex casserole that will fit perfectly into these, and these are worth picking up when you see them because you can use them to display your Pyrex. I was super excited to come across these. As you can see, it's super fun to stop by the swap shed and see what you can find. The swap shed's only open for a short period of time twice a week, and I head there about 2 or 3 times a month to see what I can find. Leave a comment and let me know where you find the best free items in your local area. I'd love to hear if you have a swap shed or something similar near you. And don't forget to let me know which items were your favorite. I think my favorite items have to be this reverse painted framed art as well as the black snowflake Pyrex, of course. If you'd like to see more of the fun finds I've picked up at the swap shed, be sure to check out this playlist. I've included a link in the description below the video. Thanks again for stopping by my channel. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of my future videos. Have a good one. Goodbye.